President Biden is planning a big push to highlight abortion access as part of his reelection campaign. The plan includes a series of ad buys and events across the country. The first rally is scheduled for next week, marking 51 years since the Supreme Court's landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. As you know, that decision has been since overturned, upending American politics. Democratic Congresswoman Katherine Clark joins us now. She's also the House Minority Whip. Congresswoman, we really appreciate you taking the time. What's your assessment of the Biden campaign's decision to move in this direction on abortion rights, really bringing it to the fore of the 2024 campaign?
I applaud this decision by the Biden campaign because it reflects the concerns of the American people. What we have seen as I travel the country in red states, blue states, purple states, and we've certainly seen in every single state when reproductive freedom has been on the ballot, the American people understand what is at stake. And they are turning out to vote to be able to make this most fundamental decision with their own decision, with their family, with their doctor, and with their faith. And the stories that we have heard of the denial of fundamental medical care in states that have bans are absolutely terrifying. So this is the critical issue moving forward into 24 and how we are going to define freedom for Americans as we go into this critical election.
Congresswoman, when you think about the issue of the economy, the issue of abortion rights, the issue of democracy and January 6th, which President Biden has discussed at length in recent weeks, how do you weigh them as a leader for House Democrats in terms of what should be put first when messaging to voters, when putting ads together? Are they all kind of the same, worth the same politically in terms of the message, or do you see them as a bit different depending on the part of the country?
No, they're so tied, and it speaks to every part of the country, and it speaks to whether you're living in rural America, suburban America, or in our urban cities. Because here's the thing. We know that democracy is on the ballot in 24. We have heard what Donald Trump has said his plans are for our country. We have to believe him. And he is planning to strip our democracy, continue to undermine secure elections, and continue to narrow the vote. And at the same time, he has taken away reproductive freedom. And when you will take away that decision from American women, from American families, there is no line of government intrusion that they won't cross. And this has to do with the economic issues as well. And the fact that just today in Congress, when we were on the verge yet again of another Republican shutdown, what did they choose to prioritize? 2 anti-abortion bills. Why aren't they working with Democrats to lower costs like we did around the cost of insulin, capping it at $35 a month for our seniors without a single Republican vote? Why aren't they coming together and addressing gun violence with us while we have that bill pending in front of them today? Why aren't they working on the issues that the American people are concerned about? As I travel, I hear about reproductive freedom. I hear about the high costs of housing, the high costs of groceries and rent. These are the issues that the American people sent us here to fight for them. And the vision that Donald Trump and the House GOP has is totally leaving those concerns out of their agenda.
And there's a real standoff remaining, even though the House has averted a partial government shutdown. A real standoff remains on Capitol Hill between House Republicans and House Democrats over the issue of the border. How do you believe that could be resolved, if at all, in the coming weeks?
It could be resolved, and it could have been resolved if Republicans were serious about coming to solutions. Here's what we know. We know that we have a true security issue at the border, that we have inhumane conditions for migrants coming to that border. We have a system that is not working. But at each time, that we have seen the Republicans evaluate a proposal, they say no. I want to go back to the Farm Workers Modernization Act because it is such a classic example of what I mean. That was a bill that was brought together by Big Ag, by the Farm Workers Union, by advocates with many different issues that came together to say this could create a pathway to citizenship and also have the farm workers' needs met and help us lower grocery costs. A win-win-win. Republicans rejected it. That's same with the Dreamers bill. And now what we're looking at is a president who has put forward many proposals on ways that we can strengthen security at the border. Just last year, hundreds of millions into technology to make sure that we are stopping fentanyl that we know is coming directly through our ports. How many Republican votes did that have? 0. So let's get serious about addressing an immigration system that is not working for anybody, instead of using it as just political fodder and also just, being inhumane in the way they are describing immigrants and putting our national security at risk, holding up aid to Ukraine, holding up humanitarian aid that we need around the world for their own political gains around this issue. Let's put the American people first in solutions that they are asking us to provide.
One of the leaders of the House Democrats on the forefront of Democratic politics in the House and nationally, Congresswoman Katherine Clark. We really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.